Hi, everybody. So today I'm going to introduce you to Antonia Harmon, and she and I met in Morocco, and it was a beautiful experience. We were all in a car together. So me and Antonia and Anya and Abby. And my friends call us the A team. So I'm the only one with no A in my name. But we were able to do some amazing things. And it's almost like the three of us with the darker hair have come in and we're more earthy. We're like earth angels. And Antonia is like this avenging angel that just goes in and gets stuff done as we were guiding her through it. So we got a lot accomplished that day and then on the way back as well. So anyway, I want to introduce Antonia, and go ahead, Antonia, tell us about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, honey, for having me. And thank you, Mark, for putting us together.
Yeah,
Morocco was pretty wild in
it was.
every sense. But it was wonderful to meet you girls because you were guiding and I was like, navigator, show me stuff. And then you were like telling me where to go and fixing things and changing things. And I think we got a lot from each other from, the way that everyone sees the world, each one of us is very different. And so it's all different pieces of the puzzle. So working together was really, really fun, really, really beautiful. And it was like someone was coming up with this idea, this idea, this idea. And I was coming up with some wild things like I found it really amusing because I was like, oh, I've got this lofty idea about doing this in the future. And you were like, well, let's do it. And I'm, what? And we started going down all these rabbit holes of these wild ideas I've had in my mind for years. So that was really fun. It was really playful, really fun. So more about me. So my name's Antonia Harmon. My company is Divine Empowerment because I'm all about empowering people divinely. It's in the name. So I come from the perspective where we're all gods and goddesses, and we forgot that we're gods and goddesses. I think we are powerful and incredible and loving beyond measure. And I literally think we can build universes, but we've got blockages which are preventing us from doing these things. Some of them are malevolent and some of them are benevolent. So some of them are negative and some of them are positive. I do think there are, and I think there's a 26,000 year cycle as well, which is a big part of this. So I literally think that we have the power of gods and we can do anything, instant manifestation, instant healing, all of that. And then beyond that, building physical planets, which is, steps beyond. I've worked out a lot of how these things work. I haven't necessarily managed them all yet, but I've got the physics of it, or I've got the understanding of how to do a lot of these things. And we'll go into the theory of my solid liquid gas, because basically once you've got mastery of solid liquid gas and gas liquid solid, you are enlightened and you're doing all this sort of stuff that, we talk about Jesus being the first one who was, or the only one potentially able to do this stuff. But if you look at Chinese and Tibetan written history, there's 180,000 monks, 180,000 who could do the same sort of stuff that Jesus could do. So he's incredible. There's no doubt. I'm a big fan, but it's not totally unattainable. It's exceptionally difficult. And they had to only have loving thoughts. I think it was 13 years of only loving thoughts and meditating on a particular symbol. Very difficult to do it that way. I've managed to shortcut. I haven't got all of those abilities, but I've managed to shortcut a lot of things and worked out where we need to go to have ascended abilities. And I spent a lot of the last 20 years in a trance, awakening my abilities. And now I've got quite a lot of superpowers, which I teach.
Yeah, which is brilliant. And we learned a lot from each other just on that trip. And we kind of stuck together as a group, learning, talking, and supporting each other energetically. And I think it was just a beautiful experience. And the things that Antonia does, it comes from a totally different angle. Like, we're all healers, but she does it in a different way. And she does it with a lot of power behind her. And sometimes that scares people a little bit, but really it's just a brilliant thing to be able to do it, like almost like in a blanket instead of one at a time, or even smaller groups at a time. So to me, it was really a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do, well, what was it, 12,000? It might have even gone up. I can work on a lot of people simultaneously. And it's all the same thing. It's unraveling the same stuff, working on different diseases. But I'm ahead of the curve. I had my Akashic Records read a while ago by a chap called Bill Foss, who's written numerous books on it. And he did my session, and at the end of the session, he came back and was he messaged me 2 days later and said, "Look, there's something else I want to talk to you about. Can we have another little conversation, please?" So, and in that conversation, he said, "You're different. I knew there was something different, but I've never seen this before, and I don't know what it is. But you've incarnated backwards. You have come from 200 or 250 years in the future and come back." So my little phrase I like for that is, "I'm the Terminator of healing," because it's funny,
Yeah.
but it's kind of right.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah. And I think you're carrying that knowledge with you, and also the attitude of, because we're moving into the golden age, and you're carrying that attitude of, I already have that knowledge with you, which is really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
It's coming from the other. So for me, enlightenment is a losing game. We're losing all the stuff that prevents us from being enlightened. So and what I do is in my classes, because I mainly teach, everything's available online and it's super easy to access for different time zones. You can just watch videos. We have weekly, well, I meet it every 2 weeks. But what happens is you watch a video and things get taken out of your energy system, which are no longer serving you. I mean, one of the things that because I started working with these ladies and we were doing some big crazy stuff, and I was told by the divine, I'm just a soldier, I just get told to do stuff, and it looks like I'm advanced in this, but I'm just talking to them upstairs who go do this, go do that, and I just do as I'm told. That's the way that I'm working, really. But they said to help you guys with changing your energy systems around. So this is a big thing, which is quite controversial. So as far as I'm aware, can I talk about this? It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's good.
Chakras and meridians are actually fungal pathways, and they're compartmentalizing our energy systems.
Mhm.
So it stops us from being very powerful. I know a lot of people are very attached to their chakras and meridians. We still have them, but not in their set locations, as it were. So they've gone broader. They are, what's the word? Because of H.
Expanded.
What?
Expanded.
Expand, what that will do, but they are, but they're just I've forgotten the word, but yeah, so they still operate, but they are not in their set locations, because their set locations are actually prison cells preventing us from actually expanding and it all working holistically. There you go, that's the word I was looking for, stopping it all working holistically. So I've had my meridians checked by Chinese doctors, and they are very, very weak, to the point that they would be very, very concerned for my health, and I'm obviously very much alive. I'm more alive than many people. And yeah, the chakras, they've just expanded, so they don't have those sort of, they're just prison cells for us. So without them, it means we can do much bigger work, and I think that's where we're going with this dimensional healing. We're going into being a lot more powerful, which is sometimes intimidating, because I just get on with things really quickly. What I really appreciate about you guys is your humility as well, because I piss people off. I do. Like, I walk in and I watch a shamanic ceremony that took someone 30 years to learn, and I watch it once and I go and I can teach it in 2 minutes. I'm pretty much pitch perfect with energy work. And that's very irritating to people, because they've spent 30 years learning something, and I watch it once, and it annoys people. So that's one of the things I really appreciated about you guys, because you are, well versed and well accomplished in this, but also we're so happy and willing to play and change and paradigm shift when something new is presented to you. And I really admire that about you guys. I was really happy to meet people, because I've never met anyone who actually really wants to play with me, because I annoy them.
Well, I think, you're bringing forward like a big energy, and a lot of people don't like that, because it makes them feel small. It reminds them of the block that's in there, that they were told they were small. So then they get irritated. But a lot of us, the three of us have done a lot of work to let go of that stuff. And we also know that we're very powerful. but there's niches. Everybody has a certain gift, and you can't expect for everybody's to be the same. And I think that's one of the things as humanity that we have to learn anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so. But it was fun to work with you guys and play around with these
it was a
things.
lot of fun. We had fun the whole time. It was great. Yeah, we had a great time. And the things that you can find when that's the thing about finding like your tribe, is when you get them in a small space together, or even like, in a room or whatever, you can do so much in such a short space of time, and you kind of spark each other. So it's just a beautiful thing to participate in. I'm sure it was crazy to watch. I know our driver probably thought we were insane, but it was wonderful. I had a lot of fun.
I did as well, and I did make the remark, and I stand by it, that this might be one of the most important, if not the most important, car journey that there ever was.
Yeah, we got so much done, and a lot of it we can't really talk about, but it was all for the world. One thing after another we were working on in that car, and that was it was tremendous. So I'm so happy that we went to Morocco and we got to meet.
Yeah, I think that was the purpose of the trip more than anything, was for us to just, be stuck in a car for 8 hours.
Yeah. And then we were able to activate all these other people, that were there for healing. It feels like they walked out as healers versus they walked out as just healed. So that was really beautiful to watch too. Because and everybody was like, a lot of people were sick. Like, I didn't feel good after Morocco. And that is also a release as well.
I did. I went straight to my birthday party.
I know, you were fine. No, I had, there were some things going on with the water there. So I'll say that. But my digestion was all messed up when I got home. So there's a lot of interesting things going on just in general with the whole trip. And I don't think we'll realize all the things that mattered out of that trip, and probably for months, really. Because there was more in there. Yep. Yeah.
We lit some fuses.
We did some really good stuff, and it was just beautiful to participate in, and watching everybody kind of like come together. And that's who we are. Like, we're all these amazing beings, and we have this gift that we came with. And if we can put it together with someone else's gift, it increases the power, not by 2, but like, I don't know,
infinitely.
Tremendous. Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys got such a gift of sight that, is far and beyond mine. Mine's quite blocky because I'm working on scalability. I'm using a huge scale, which means there are things that I miss. I mean, one of the things which I thought was really, really cool was I've had a smoke allergy for 20 years, and it's been a real pain. It's been really difficult, and it was to the point where I would almost walk past someone in the street and I would be put to bed for days. That was where it was a few years ago, and I was completely, it would just sap my life force entirely. And I've worked on it for a long time, and I've worked on it the way that I work on things, and I'm very effective at a lot of different diseases. But this has just been my Achilles, the thorn in my spine, or my foot, or wherever it might be, that thorn. We got in the car, and I was apprehensive of getting in the car with you because Anya smokes. And I was like, oh, this is gonna, because it can just completely mess me up. And I was like, well, if I get in the car with you, we're gonna have to fix this. And you were all up for it. And then you saw all these absolutely mind-blowing like visions about where it was from. And there was so many stories. And then, but you managed to go down the rabbit holes and see all these incredible visions about planets exploding and me in like little jettisons off in little spaceships and such. And we managed to get to all of these little tiny stories. And then I neutralized all the tiny stories, or neutralized them together. And then my smoke allergy was gone. And I've been around a number of smokers since. So, it's the thing is putting everybody together, because there are gaps. Like, I'm doing things on a big scale, effectively on a big scale, but there are a couple of things here and there that you need to have your precision.
Yeah. So it just goes to show you, as you join up forces with people, like you could do amazing things. So don't hesitate to do that. Don't give away your power to someone, you know, if they're trying, be discerning with people, but it's just brilliant when you can share that and you can create something so much bigger than you would have created on your own.
And also, I just think we're just so nice together. Even yesterday, we were discussing something, and I think we've got slightly different terminology to things. And Honey's like, no, it's this, it's, you know, and I'm like, I don't think so, honey. I'm going to have to disagree with you. Our numbers were so, so different. And both of us were like, oh, well, what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? And it's just, you know, the humility and interest in each other's viewpoints, and then going, oh, well, maybe that relates to that. And then we've done amazing things because we were sort of, you know, just discussing things yesterday, and then we figured out some more bits, and we haven't figured out everything, but we've like, oh, well, that's how you're seeing that, so then can we work on that tangent and that little bit and that little bit, and then we do incredible things.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. And a lot of what gets in the way if between communication is language and your perception, you know, because everybody has a different idea about what something means. And if you don't just back away and not get offended, you know, and kind of ask like, well, this is what I was talking about. What are you talking about? It's okay to do that and not be offended by it, because you could miss things. There's all kinds of things in there that you could miss. And I think that happens a lot. People just get offended instead. It's not
It's easy to,
mm-hmm.
you know, you've got like, you know, as I said, was saying yesterday in our messages, I'm very blocky. You know, I've got this is this layer, this is this layer, this is this layer, and I've probably got 4 terms for something you've got 300 for. So my grouping is something like that, isn't it? Like my grouping is like very, very different to yours, because I'm just doing everything all in one go, because I don't have the sight that you've got. I've got oodles of power and a knowing and very sort of directional, and, you know, understanding things in a very sort of to the point way.
Yeah. So like the people with sight are like filling in the gaps of what to do. And then it really makes everything work better. Like it's more complete. So, but the power, you know, we've gained more power by some of the knowledge that you were able to impart on us, but also you gain more power by the knowledge that we can give you while you're doing your work. So that it's just beautiful to watch. Yeah. A lot of fun.
It was so fun.
So what else is going on with you?
Right. Should I do the solid liquid gas?
Yeah, I think it's really good to explain that.
Okay, so I figured out something. I call it Antonia's grand theory of disease. So let me give you examples before I get, so it's grand theory of disease. So everything in creation goes from a solid to a liquid to a gas, or from a gas to a liquid to a solid. So let's just look at something random I have here, which is a cat toy. I've got a random cat toy here. So this is a little ball, obviously. It got thought of by somebody and designed by somebody. So thought I call to be gases, because if you hang around somebody who's angry or upset, you spend 2 seconds with them, you can feel it. It's in the air. Like you walk into after an argument, you can immediately feel it. If your friend got laid last night, you're like, ooh, you can feel it. It's like, it's just in the energy around them. Or if you're around somebody anxious, it can make you anxious, or a depressed person can make you depressed. So thoughts are like gases. So someone dreamed this up, they thought it up, so that's a gas. And then they designed this little ball, or maybe on a liquid screen, because screens are liquid, or with a pen, which is a liquid. And then it went into the solid, which is this ball. So it went through the stages: gas, thought, liquid, design, solid, creation. Everything is made in this way, including, if you believe, you know, the sort of creational story of God, it's very similar to that as well. Mm-hmm. But if you have mastery of solid, liquid, gas, you can do pretty much anything, including instant healing of all diseases, including walking on water. Because what's solid water? Honey, what's solid water?
Ice.
Yeah. Mastery of solid, liquid, gas. If you can change these states, you can do that. So, and also the sword and the stone, what Merlin did was liquefy the stone. He liquefied the stone, he put a sword inside it, made it go hard again. And then he said, you know, whosoever this no, who shall pull the stone, who shall pull the sword becomes the king of England. But you have to be enlightened. To be able to liquefy stone, you have to be enlightened. It's the enlightenment thing. So he wanted the next king of England to be enlightened. And then he was able to, Arthur was able to liquefy the stone and pull out the sword. Because that's what we used to do, was have enlightened people. The person who was most enlightened was the person who was in charge, because they would be thinking about the greatest good for all. Now we have the least enlightened person, I think, in charge.
Very true.
The most power hungry. It's going the other way. But they even talk about that in the new, the adult Harry Potter one, the Beast thing. They talk about the most enlightened person. Anyway, so master of gas, liquid, solid liquid, gas is instant manifestation. It's instant healing of diseases. Jesus, when he was doing the loaves and fishes, which was not unique to him, there were monks and Buddhist monks who've been able to do that, but they take a little bit of few grains of rice and make tens of thousands of grains of rice. Obviously, Jesus did the loaves and the fishes and fed, you know, a lot of people from the back of that. But he had the blueprint for it because he had it in the first place. So if you get master of this, you can do all these things. But disease comes in three categories: gas, a liquid, and a solid. So gas-based diseases are thought-based diseases. Depression, anxiety, all of those things they're non-physical. They're around you. You can feel it in the air around somebody. Liquid-based diseases. A liquid-based disease is something like anything to do with your blood, or something like a cyst is a literal ball of fluid. You press the cyst, it's just a ball of fluid. Something like a chronic pain as well, though. Backache, for example, which many people suffer from, fibromyalgia, something like that, they don't have a fixed location. They sometimes move an inch to the left, an inch to the right. The severity of the pain changes. Sometimes it's a 2 out of 10, sometimes it's a 10 out of 10. And often that depends on how stressed you are, which is an interesting side of it. It's often about that. And one of the interesting things about backache is there's a cost of living crisis going on at the moment for a lot of people, and the price of fuel and all food and everything else has gone up through the roof. And back pain intrinsically, emotionally, is about not feeling supported. And lower back pain is lack of structure to your finances and worried about money. So if anyone watching this has noticed that their lower back pain has actually escalated and become worse, or back pain in general, then look at my YouTube, Antonia Harmon. I've got a video there, and you can follow along this video, and your back pain should subside, if not go. You just follow me along, and your actual pain will go, because I've worked out the emotional reason behind it. I read a textbook that tells the emotional reason behind it, and I dissolve the resonance of people's backache goes just from watching one of my YouTubes. So please go there and watch that if you're suffering. And then we've got solid-based diseases. Solid-based disease is like a tumor. You press a tumor, it's rock hard. So how do things change state? So got a gas. If you put enough gas into a finite space, it compresses, and it becomes a liquid. But it's that thought, you getting fixated on a particular thought. Compression. Enough of that thought. What you're thinking about determines what disease you have. So it's the quality of your thoughts. So you get fixated, and it goes to a certain package in your body, and over years, more and more goes in, and it compresses, and it becomes a liquid, or it becomes a solid, because it's more and more thoughts compressed. So disease is frozen trauma, it's compressed thoughts. So, and we've got this amazing textbook, which I use, which tells you the emotional reason behind things. It's actually always by my side. In fact, it's just there.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, metaphysical anatomy. It's called Metaphysical Anatomy by Yvette Rose. It's available on Amazon. Honey bought a copy of it.
Yeah,
and it tells you the emotional reason behind diseases. So all I do is neutralize the stuck emotions, and diseases fall out of people, sometimes instantly. And that's where we're going to: instant healing of all diseases and instant manifestation. So I can do the manifestation in the energetic side. It's much harder to do in the liquid side and the solid side. But I'm working towards that, and that is enlightenment. When you're master of solid, liquid, gas, liquid, solid, you could literally put a sword in stone. And I live very near to Tintagel, which was King Arthur's castle. It's like half an hour's drive or something. I might have to go and do that there sometime.
Yeah, I would definitely go and look at it and touch it and all that, for sure. See what you can do.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, well, they also used to do it in Chinese and Tibetan written history. They've got handprints in stone, which the enlightened masters, where they put footprints and handprints in stone, and it's liquefied. You can see it's clearly liquefied because it looks like the stone is soft. It's got waves to it. It's not like a hard carving, and they wouldn't have had the tools to sand things down and make it that precise. They liquefied stone. So it's not unique, but it is enlightenment as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of stories about that. And I think that's how the pyramids got built as well.
Liquefying it.
Yeah. And basically just having it fly right through the air.
Yeah. I think they were making it fly. Yeah. Because you'd be able to fly when you've got real mastery of it. You can make yourself lighter than air. You'd be able to fly. You'd be able to bilocate. It's literally the foundation, because I'm always looking higher. You know, I'm always saying, what's the next level? What's the level above? What's the level above? What's the bit we can't see? Because a lot of people get stuck in the almost day to day of things, and there's so many things to look at. I'm always trying to ascend to the next level. But mastery of solid liquid gas would be flying. It would be bilocation, because it's your thoughts to manifest. It's you think to be in Australia, and then you'd be able to manifest yourself physically there. It's literally, it's everything. Proper mastery is actually, it's God. It's a God ability.
Yeah, which we all have the God spark within us. So we should be able to carry that through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty hardcore though. I spent 20 years largely in a trance, completely off my head on energies and exhausted to the point that, you know, just ridiculously exhausted for a long time, not being able to get out of bed and crawling around and just collapsing. I'm strong. But it's been a difficult and crazy journey to be able to get these abilities. But I can teach them very easily. Literally sit at home, watch some videos, and you get superpowers. I mean, you can literally superpowers in your PJs.
Yeah. Well, and the whole thing that's going on right now is there's this huge like window, and we have this window that is making everything accelerate. So learning stuff is a lot faster than it used to be. So Antonia might have gone through 20 years, and I went through about 8 years, but you go through these years and you're just picking, trying to get things done. And now it's just like fast. It's like, okay, I get it. No problem, because the frequencies have changed.
We laid the pathways, you know, which, you know, we built the first roads or the first tracks, and now they're motorways, which is fantastic. You know, I'm glad. It's not that fun being by yourself and being the only one who's got these abilities. And certainly when I started, because I was talking about instantly dissolving traumas, and I was laughed at initially, like, how are you going to instantly dissolve traumas? I teach that on my level 1 class. It takes them like 30 seconds to dissolve most traumas. That's a level 1 ability. It's not anything very advanced for me now, but still in the world that most people are living in, it sounds completely balmy because I'm that far ahead. I've got 10 levels. We're doing big diseases in level 10 and level 11. We just are. That's consistently it's working.
It is. Yeah. I love it. And I'm glad you came and talked about it today, because I think it's really important for people to know that it's out there, and to know that this is kind of where we're going, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger. There's something else that somebody was saying the other day. I can't remember, but basically they were describing something that was 2 levels above where we're actually going. And that can be actually funneled down into the existence we're about ready to have. People can learn this stuff and they're going to do amazing work. And I don't really see disease in the future after all this stuff starts to really unfold. But we still have 10 years before we actually, not 10 years, we have this decade before we hit the golden age and everything is just so much easier in general.
That's the way, isn't it?
Yeah. So I might as well enjoy ourselves and get things done and feel better throughout this whole process of this decade.
Well, I mean, I think one of the important things is I talk about, this is something I teach in my level 3 class, is emotional themes. So I really think this is important because people are unaware of, and it annoys me because there are some things which are so well known, and then very glaringly obvious things that should be better known. And this is part of the law of attraction. And I would assume most of your listeners are probably familiar with it. It's pretty, everybody knows about the law of attraction, pretty mainstream these days. So the law of attraction, for anyone who's unfamiliar or just wants a refresh, is basically what you're focusing on, you attract. That's the short version of it. So if you want abundance in your life, you need to be sitting there and not thinking about poverty, and not be worried about, oh, holy moly, I've just got my gas bill. Holy moly, how am I going to afford this? Holy moly, how am I going to do this and that? So you have to be thinking, you have abundance, which is very, very difficult to get to. If you're not in abundance, it's hard to be, in that place of abundance. But you have to, be thinking, I have everything that I need, everything is great. And people write themselves a check for £1 million or whatever it is, and they're focusing on that and focusing on the house that they want and the things that they want, from a place of not fear. But the thing is, there is the fear, and there is the dark side of the law of attraction, which is what I talk about. And it's whatever you're focusing on, you invite, and you're ordering things you don't want from the universe. So it's really important to realize that if you want the steak for dinner, stop asking for the chicken. If you're in the restaurant and you say magnanimously, I want the steak, but then you keep going chicken, 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 chicken. So that, you're going to be brought the chicken ultimately. So it might be that you want that beautiful house, but then you're worried because you've actually are not doing well financially and you have struggles. But if you're focusing more on the struggles, then you are on the thing that you're looking for. You're putting more energy into it, and it's a scale, and you're bringing that in. But unless you clear these things out of your system, you're going to be attracting them from the subconscious. So one example would be potentially infidelity. Maybe there was infidelity in your home growing up. Now, unfortunately, until you clear that out of your field, whether you're consciously focusing upon it or not, it's in your field and you're ordering it. So until you clear that stuff out, you will be attracting partners who cheat on you. That's just the way it is until you do the work, because you're ordering it from the universe. This is the dark side of the law of attraction, and I wish it was better known. That's why I'm talking about it here. So, in my level 3, we do themes. So we do all of your grief, all of your rejection, all of your betrayal, all of your abandonment, any of these things, because you'll notice that you keep attracting the same thing. It will always be grief. It will always be betrayal. Why is it you get betrayed all the time? Your best friend's never been betrayed, but she has an issue around abandonment or whatever it might be. We all have things that need to be worked on. But once you can do a spring clean of these situations in your field, it means you stop attracting things that you don't want, and you have a much more blessed life. It's much easier, it's much more fun, it's much more joyful, and you stop attracting things you don't want. And then the bad things just don't happen to you in the same way, or when they do, because sometimes the universe throws you a little tester to see whether you are actually, behaving with grace and dignity in situations, or whether you're actually being a bit of a moron and aggressive and just mean in situations. So and when that horrible thing happens, how did you react? Did you behave with grace and dignity, or were you difficult? And every time that we're difficult, we need to realize, because not everything's going to go away every day, it just won't. But we need to notice and go, why did I react? What happened? Why did I get triggered? Why was I not kind? Why did I behave badly? And so when you can do that, and you can start to audit your life and start to go through these trigger points, and you can start to delve deeper and deeper and deeper and find out the emotional reason behind things, then you behave better. Not all the time you're exemplary, but most of the time you're pretty cool. And it's a much better way to live, and you stop attracting things you don't want. So that's a really, really important thing, to go through themes and to do the work. And the thing is, with me, the work is so easy, because you sit there in your pajamas, watch some videos, that's on level 3 to do emotional themes. And that's what, I don't know, I think the courses are either a day or a day and a half in the beginning. They get a bit longer depending. So it's probably like 3 or 4 days. And you can do emotional themes. So sitting there in your pajamas, watching videos, and then you can audit your life and get rid of all the emotional crud you've picked up over the however many lifetimes you've had. Because also, these, Honey and Abby and Anya are very, very good at looking at past lives, and they're looking at all these different things. And we actually, when I got in the car, they were like, "You need to look at past lives." I went, "No, I don't." And they said, "Why?" And I said, "Occasionally, like with the smoking, yes, you were absolutely right. I group everything together. So the grief, it includes your past lives and your future lives and everything else. I just do grief because I just do it in this blocky way, which makes it so much easier because you don't have to go down these rabbit holes. You've just literally got all of the grief that you've got in your system. Get rid of all of that in 10 minutes. It's game changing. It's really fun."
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of fun. I loved it. We had a lot of fun, and it's great to watch and it's great to participate in. So I do recommend it. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So, do you have
Yeah.
any final things you want to share with people?
If anyone wants, is interested, we've got a code which is honey10. If anyone's interested in doing the classes, so for level 1, for example, it's 333 less 10% if you've got honey's code, so honey10. If you want to do the 3-course bundle, which people do, I think it's £7.99 on the website, so you're saving like what, £300 on that, £200 on that. £200 on that, plus you get the 10% off. So yeah, you can do that. Yeah, so you can get discounts there. You can also book in with me. I've got practitioners as well if you want to be working on different illnesses and diseases. We're really good at liquid-based diseases. If you do want to do the backache, I would recommend that one, which is on my YouTube, which is Antonia Harmon or Divine Empowerment. My website's divineempowerment.com.
Yeah.
We'll put it below, but just Antonia Harmon and Divine Empowerment. If you just put Antonia the Wizard, you'll find me. I'm pretty easy to find. I've made myself trackable. But yeah, if you want to really learn some magic, this is magic school. This is wizardry. This is the next generation. This is the work of the future, from the future. And this is bringing through some really, really cool stuff. So it's where we're going. And I do recommend that people do a lot of work before the solar flash. It's a good idea to do these courses before March. I really do think so. I think they're going to find it much easier. Don't you?
Yeah, well, that's when the window closes. So March, up until March, everything's going to be really easy to get some stuff done. Now there might be another window opening, but it won't be exactly the same. We're in an accelerated period of learning right now. And that acceleration is so that people can kind of get done what they need to get done so they can continue to go forward. It's like steps. So we're going into the next step in March, at the end of March.
Yeah. So I recommend people coming and getting on board. We're already doing like mind-blowing work, like regularly. That is, I specialize in miracles as one of my little taglines. And it's actually true. It might sound arrogant, but it's true. That's what we do. And I think that we need to take our power back and own it. I really think it's important to own our abilities and to actually say what we're doing. It's very easy to be repressed and play small. I mean, it's also, we don't want to be lying about things and overstating things, but I think it's okay to say what we're truly doing and who we truly are. And I think that that's a suppression from the dark side. I also think beauty's that way as well. Like, it's only the nasty people who've been able to be powerful, to be rich, and to be pretty. Let's not let them do that. Let's take it back for the light.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Well, thank you so
yeah.
much. Go ahead. Did you have one more thing?
No, yeah. So yeah, if anyone wants to get a hold of me, then please just go to my website, divineempowerment.com. If you have any questions, info@divineempowerment.com. Sorry, .co.uk for that one. info@divineempowerment.co.uk, and I can answer any questions. And we'll put it below. And yeah, I look forward to you guys coming and becoming wizards. Time to join Wizard School, everybody. Become an Avenging Angel. Oh yeah, when you do the chakra thing that we did, so we removed the chakras and meridians, and then you start to become an angel. You start to have your angelic body awoken, and then you can you become a real badass.
Yeah. And that's been fun. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to you, Antonia. I'm really glad that you came. And then look for her stuff below. I'll have all of it down there. And just kind of feel into this because it does feel big, but that's where we're going. Everything is going to get bigger and bigger, and you're going to get bigger and bigger as far as your energy goes. Yeah. So anyway, it's been great. Thank you, Antonia.
Thank you, honey.
Bye, everybody.